listen, to try out a new platform here. I am, as we are expanding um, our reach here. For those, first of all, let me get this out of the way. For those of you who are just now uh, catching me, maybe for the first time, my name is Richard Cuff. I'm president of CTI Marketing, founder of Nassimba Business Alliance, and master greatness coach here at GetReadyForGreatness.com. Um, this new this platform that we're using um, is will allow me to broadcast on all of my platforms: YouTube, um, Twitter, Instagram, and here at Facebook. So, as you know, when you introduce new technology, stuff goes wrong. Talk to here. If you're from Jacksonville, you can talk to ViStar about what happens when you introduce new technology. But this week, I'm here in Seattle, and then where am I going to be after that? Oh, back to Atlanta, and then up to Chicago, and then Orlando. So that's pretty much my speaking schedule for the next couple weeks. But I just wanted to jump on real quick this morning, and this is late for some of you because I normally have done this by as I'm going into the gym um, by 7 o'clock, maybe 8 o'clock at the latest. I've done this video, but I'm 3 hours behind y'all here in Seattle, so I wasn't trying to. And so what that means, my body has not adjusted yet, but I still didn't roll out of bed. So it's still now just now past 6:30 or so here on the left coast. But anyway, this is what I wanted to share with you guys real quick. I want to talk about turning your scars into trophies. And as I'm standing here catching this sun, this beautiful, beautiful sunrise here in Seattle, I want to talk about turning your scars into trophies. And this is part of my 7 steps to overcoming adversity in within the PS Factor 21 days to greatness coaching. And this is step number 7. So if you have already downloaded the workbook at the Greatness Shop, or I should say the ebook at the Greatness Shop, or you are actually paying for the course and getting the videos and more detail. This is module 3 and the third part, the seventh step of module 2, 7 steps to overcoming adversity. And that turn your scars into trophies. And so here is why that's so important to me, because for at least almost 2 decades, I was doing my Get Ready for Greatness coaching, and it wasn't called coaching back when I first started. It was just called motivational speaking. And I'm old school. I grew up in the days when the most positive thing you got when it came to coaching or information was what came from the preacher on Sunday morning. And I remember uh, almost as if it was yesterday, even though this was literally 40 years ago, the first time I got exposed to what was then called motivational speaking, now called coaching. Um, I remember the first time I got exposed to it, I was applying for a job at what was then called Southern Bell to sell yellow pages. And I ultimately got the job and got the best sales training class on earth. In fact, I am the salesperson, the marketing person, the advertising and public relations person that I am today because of that training that I got back in the early 80s. And so I'm applying for the position, and I made it all the way to the final interview, which was with the head of the call center. And I'm in his office waiting for him to come in. His receptionist, his secretary, told me that he was on a call or in a meeting or something, that he would be in the office shortly. So took me into his office, sat me at his desk, and I'm sitting there. Maybe it was, it felt like the blink of an eye, but I probably could have been there 20 minutes or so, because I started looking around the office and I saw books on his shelf, and there was one book that like kind of drew me to the book. It was Zig Ziglar's "See You at the Top," and I'm sitting there and I started reading that book and started getting more and more into it. And I'm flipping the pages, and everything that I'm reading in this book was so mind blowing. It was like, oh my God, I never knew that you could find information like this in a book that wasn't called the Bible. I didn't know that you could hear somebody speak like this that wasn't called a preacher and that it wasn't done on Sunday morning. I grew up. I mean, I'm in my early 20s. So 20 years of my life, I lived not knowing that words like that existed outside of the church. I know it sounds crazy, but if you never know, you don't know what you don't know until you know what you don't know. And I didn't know it. I didn't know that there outside of the my community, the Black church community, the white corporate community is taking the same information that the preacher is giving me on Sunday morning. They're getting it and applying it Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. I get it Sunday from 10 o'clock to 3, depending on what church you go to. It might be till 6 in the evening. But I spent a lot of time then just going through and reading those books, and just coincidentally, I had just moved back to Miami after I got out of the army, got out of the army in 1981. And this was a year and a half after the May riots. So maybe a year afterwards. So I got out, yeah, in August of 81, but the riots happened in May of 1980. And from 1980 to the time I got home in 1981, there was this one voice that was talking to the community and getting everybody fired up and excited. And that was this young 34, 35-year-old guy named Les Brown. And Les wasn't the Les Brown that you guys know today. Les was just a community advocate. He was a voice in Liberty City talking on the radio. And then he started doing this event on a Wednesday evening, I believe it was, at the Joseph Caleb Center there in Miami on the corner of 54th Street and 22nd Avenue. And I went there. And it felt more like a church service. I think Les early on was thinking he was going the route of preacher, and that's how he sounded. It was literally like a church service. And he got up and he spoke, but it was like the words that Les was speaking was like the words that I read in that book by Zig Ziglar, "See You at the Top." Again, this was motivational speaking. It wasn't preaching, but it was truth. It was stuff that I could use. And I'll never forget hearing Les Brown say, "If life knocks you down, try to land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up." Man, I still remember hearing those words come from Les. And he said it thousands of times since then in different videos. You can hear him say those words. But I don't know if that was the first time he ever said it, but to hear him say that live drew me to him even more. And then I started volunteering, and for about 18 months, rode around Miami with Les, and we were having conversations, and he was just Les Brown. But I saw in him what I wanted to be. So he was like 14 years, 15 years older than me, but it was like an older brother. And I decided that I wanted to. In fact, God called me to be a motivator. I had a dream one night that I was sitting in this big. It felt like like I was literally like I was sitting in the middle of the universe, and all the stars had been turned off. And there I am sitting in a chair, high back wicker chair of sorts, and I could sense three images, three spirits behind me: Father, Son, Holy Spirit. And God leaned forward through the Holy Spirit and spoke into my ear. He said, "You know how to motivate my people. Get out there and motivate my people." I was 22 years old, knew nothing about motivation other than what I had just read in Zig Ziglar's book, See You at the Top, and what I saw Les Brown doing on stage. That's all I had. Oh, that and all the stuff that I got in church at St. Matthew's Free Will Baptist Church growing up in Miami. So three people, Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, and Bishop A. Brandel. Those were the three that shaped everything that I would start going out. And then the foundation, of course, that I had was Coralie Cuff. My mom was probably has dropped more nuggets in my life that I still use today. Um, but that was my foundation. And that was really all I needed. Next thing you know, I'm out at my high school that I graduated from just a few years earlier and speaking to the kids in my class. And one little kid on the front row, he's like, "How much money you make as a speaker?" That shut me down because that messed me up. I ain't making no money. Had nothing. What do you say about that? But that didn't stop me. I kept writing, I kept talking, and I started out with two habits to greatness. and what how to overcome. I said how to overcome adversity, and it was how to overcome adversity and two habits to greatness. That's what I started off with in my 20s. Lord Jesus, I had no clue what was coming around the corner. Um, 10, 15 years later, I had six habits to greatness and six steps to overcoming adversity. I was like learning, there's got to be more to this than just step off the cliff, wake up, wake up in the morning. You know how people give you, stuff that there's stuff all over the internet right now. Everybody's teaching you how to do things. They're gurus at this. But there, that that young Richard Cuff, um, Bishop McLaughlin said this. He says like he's just looking for three people who are willing to storm the gates of hell with a water pistol. That was me. That's you. That's you. I'm sorry. That's all of us. We believe, man. We hear God's voice and we go quit our job. We believe God is with us and we pack everything up and move to another city. Will Smith was asked once. He had just celebrated his 50th birthday, I think, and someone asked him, if you could go back and talk to the young Will Smith, that 19-year-old that was doing Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, what advice would the 50-year-old Will Smith give to the 18, 19-year-old Will Smith? And Will thought about it for a minute. And then Will said, you know what? That Will Smith back then was fearless. He believed he could do anything. He believed he could take on the world. And he said, if anything, I would go back there and ask that Will Smith for some advice. That's powerful, y'all. See, what we think is the person that we're going to be is somewhere out there in the future. And when I get to my future self, then I'm going to be my real self. But you'll find that when you get to that future self, you'll look back on this current self, wishing you could talk to that current self. My point to you in that is, look, don't be so quick to try and get away from the situation that you're in right now, because right there under your feet is the greatness that you seek. It's right there under your feet right now. So by the time I got to 6 steps to overcoming adversity, I was homeless. By night, this is like 1990 now. So this may be 11, 12 years. Well, no, this may be 92, 93 by the time this particular thing happened. So this is about 12 years after my calling to become a motivational speaker. And life has hit me with all kind of crap. The one thing that I do remember after waking up from that vision, and God said, get out there and motivate my people, I woke up saying, but who's going to motivate me? Who's going to motivate me? Who's going to motivate me? And for a while there, I sought motivation out with other people, preachers, friends, whatever. Nobody's calling me. I'm not feeling motivated. Then I learned to motivate myself. When I learned to motivate myself, that's when my life changed. That's when I was able to go from homelessness to be I had an apartment. Couldn't afford furniture, but I was no longer homeless. I'm sitting out by the swimming pool, reading my Bible, and I hear this crashing sound. Kid crashed his bike into a gate, into the fence, going into the playground. Um, I rush over to help him. He's crying. I calm him down, and he's like, I mean, crying like, and I calm him down, straighten up his handlebars, and as he's throwing his leg back over the bike, he looks down and sees that he scraped all the skin off the back of his ankle, and till the white meat shows, like Bernie Mac said, and started crying hysterically now because it was an ugly scar. And I had already used all my motivational speaking on this little kid. I had nothing else. What am I going to say? I'm ready to scream because that was an ugly scar. But I'm in my mid 30s, and all I could think to do was to pull up my pants leg and show this kid the scar on my ankle, on my leg. In fact, I'm going to show you as I'm wearing my shorts, but there's that scar right there on my leg, right here. And I got this when I was 10 years old. Now, when I got it, it was open like this, and they had to put stitches in it and close it. It didn't do a good job with covering up the scar, and there was a whole bunch of other stuff that happened that I think had a lot to do with racism. The doctor didn't even give me an anesthetic when he poured the alcohol or whatever it was in there to clean it out. And this would have been like in 1969. And so I know I got like the most racist doctor at that moment, because he could have easily given me something to numb the pain before cleaning out the wound. But no, he didn't do that. And so that left a scar mentally and emotionally and a whole bunch of other stuff. But the one thing that it did was it made me want to hide it. And that's all I did. I never wore long pants. I always wore long pants, never wore short pants. Nobody knew that I had that scar. I hid it. And I hid it for 20 years until that little boy needed the encouragement. And I pulled up my pants, pulled up my pants leg, showed him that scar, and encouraged him to get on the bike. Be careful when you're riding. I said, go home, let mom bandage you up, but be careful when you're riding that bike so you don't hurt yourself. And I go back by the pool. I sit down and I read for another 20 minutes or so. And I get up and go to my apartment. And my thoughts as I'm walking through that same area where the kid crashed his bike, I'm thinking, man, I wonder if he's okay. And I look over and I see a little boy, another little boy riding that kid's bike. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, he's home, getting him some mama in, you know, getting bandaged up. His scar wasn't as bad as mine. So chances are the mom just put Band-Aid on it or something, and wrapped it up. So I turn the corner thinking that little boy is home with his mom. And I look over and I see that little boy run from a group of boys to an older group of boys and turn around and show off his bloody scar. For the entire time, he's been running around the playground showing off his scar. And up to that point, like I said, I had 6 steps to overcoming adversity. But at that very moment, I got step number 7: turn your scars into a trophy. You see, it took me over 20 years to turn my scar into a trophy for that little boy. But it took that little boy less than 20 minutes to turn his scar into a trophy for himself. How many scars do you have and think about it. What do you do with a scar? You hide them, or you try to get rid of them. You don't want scars. But what do you do with trophies? You shine them jokers up and you put them on display. I don't know anybody that's got a trophy that they're hiding in the basement. You walk into a person's house, everybody that's got a trophy, got any kind of a trophy case. It's within the first 2 rooms of that you walk. You don't have to walk 10 steps into the house before you can see the trophy case. It's right there. There's my Oscar, my Emmy, my Grammy, my whatever. Jennifer Hudson got Oscar, Grammy, Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. I guarantee you, she got those jokers up on the shelf. But I also guarantee you, she's got some scars. She's got some disappointments. She Taraji P. Henson. Oh my God. People are celebrating Taraji right now. But talk to Taraji. I guarantee you, Taraji's got some scars. But I also guarantee you she's got some scars that she turned into trophies and took her life to that next level. Listen to me. Look at the scars in your life. Look at the challenges that you had. That I was, guys, my mom passed away when I was, what, 28, 20, going on 29 years old. And I went into a spiral emotionally. I was executive producer of a television talk show. My mom dies, and then the show gets canceled. Couldn't find the sponsors. It was a whole nightmare. And I had risked everything that I had to produce this television talk show. 28 years old, I'm executive producer of a television talk show. On my way to making my first million before I'm 30 years old. And then my mom dies, and I lose the show, and I'm back to working at a fast food restaurant. And I leaned back in my car after I got home from work, 2 in the morning, tired, too tired to even get out of the car and go inside. And I leaned back and was waking up, and I thought I fell asleep driving because it just rumbled real quick. And as I catch my orientation, I sit up and I open the door. The back end of my car is going up. Why? Because it was being towed, because it was being repossessed. I mean, just a few months earlier, I am thinking I am on my way to being a millionaire. And bam, just like that, my mom's dead, my car's being repossessed. And a few 18 months or so after that, I'm moving to Jacksonville with everything I own in the trunk of my cousin's car, only to end up homeless. Now, how could I get 2 years ago, I'm on my way to being a millionaire. 2 years later, I'm homeless. What the heck happened? But you know what was crazy? Thinking about that little boy who was running around showing off his scar. Because if my life had not gone the path that it went, I would not be in that apartment complex, sitting by that pool, to hear that crashing sound, to see that little boy, to go over there, encourage him, pull up my pants leg, show him my scar. And there's no telling what he's doing right now based on that motivation. So again, I know that I'm called to be a motivator. I know that that's my voice. I know that I'll spend the rest of my life as a public speaker. The fact that I'm a certified public speaker and a certified life coach, master greatness coach here at getreadyforgreatness.com, all of that, that's cool. But I know that that my voice is to be that motivator, because that's what God called me to do. So as I stand here with this beautiful sun shining in my face, and all of these great opportunities ahead of me to speak all over the country, and I'm watching as my wealth is increasing with every breath I take. Money loves me, and its money is excited about coming into my life. That's probably one of the most powerful affirmations you could ever say. Money loves me, and it's excited to come into my life. Hallelujah. Money comes in like, man, Richard, I'm glad to see you. Move over $100. I'm trying to get up in this man's wallet. Hey guys, listen, I gotta get out here, hit this gym. But I'm gonna do. I'm doing the gym. I gotta find the time to do it, but I'm making certain that I do it at least 3 times a week, and then I just work out at home when I'm not at the gym. But every time I go to the gym, I've said this to you before. Um, well, first of all, let's recap. We talked about the 7 steps to overcoming adversity. Step number 7 is turn your scars into trophies, and don't hide those scars. Put them on display. Let them be an encouragement to somebody else. That's the point that I want to make. But overall, as we're going to talk about this, if you're on your 21 days to greatness journey, some of you may be on day 1, some of you may be on day 20. But if you're on your journey and you've come up Especially if as you're going through the 7 habits to greatness. Understand this about habits. The first thing you want to do is set your reminder. Set some kind of reminder. Um, whether it's, like I said, every time the sun rises, a friend of mine goes to the beach. So she wants to be to the beach at sunrise. That's her habit. That's that's her reminder. Um, some for me, it's before I go to the gym on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. That's my reminder to do these videos. Um, Someone else may have a reminder that while you're waiting to pick up the children from school, that may be your reminder, your trigger. There should be a trigger moment that let that trigger moment make you go into the mindset that I need to do the next thing, and that's turn on the routine or the whatever the ritual is or whatever it is that you do it and you'll do it often enough. And I'll probably talk next video or in some at some point in time I'll talk about the repo principle, not repossession, but repo, REPOH, on how to build habits and get habits built through routines and repetition. So you create that trigger moment, and then you create the repetition that you're doing over and over until it becomes natural, normal for you. And then reward yourself. Give yourself something that you feel good about. I was on the phone with a client after I left the gym, and I went to McDonald's and ordered a sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle. And she said, "How you going to order a sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle and you're supposed to be going to the gym?" I said, "No, I ordered the sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle because I went to the gym. This is my reward for going to the gym. I'm gonna reward myself because my heart's a little bit healthier. And it could take a sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle." Now, of course, I can't be rewarding myself with that every time, but that was just that reward. Another reward, a chocolate shake every now and then. Reward yourself. And guys, turn those scars into trophies. So listen, I'm just trying this new platform out, not even certain how it's going to show up. It looks like it's a thin strip there in the middle of the Facebook page, but it should be streaming on my YouTube and Twitter and Facebook right now. And I'm working on what is it? LinkedIn. LinkedIn has a new live platform as well, but that's by invitation only. So you got to apply for that. But I'll be talking about all of those things. Guys, there's some great stuff coming up a little bit later on. I'll keep you posted on all of that. If you've watched this video to this point, you just wanted to hang out with me. So I know the average person is only going to be interested in the first 3 minutes and all that other stuff. I know you're not supposed to be doing these long videos, but I just had to share that with you guys. I'm excited to be on the path and um, reach my place of motivational speaker. That I know that as a motivational speaker, I am to take the stage, take the mic, and share my gift, share my story, and share my trophies. So till next time, guys, take care.